Imagine living in a beautiful house, but only using two rooms. You sleep in one, work in another, and the rest locked, not abandoned, not empty, just unopened for so long that you stopped thinking about them. And sometimes people live the same way within themselves, not because they lack depth, but because certain parts of them were never made to feel safe enough to open. Welcome to Regulate and Rise with Khyati Adlaka. Most people think they know themselves, but often they only know the rooms they were forced to survive in: the productive room, the responsible room, the logical room, the rooms that keeps functioning even when everything feels heavy. And because those rooms work well, people keep living there. Meanwhile, other parts quietly remained locked. The room that knows how to rest, the room that wants affection without guilt, the room that feels anger without shame, the room that wants to create without needing approval. Not broken, not missing, just unopened. Many people learn very early which emotions are acceptable and which are inconvenient. Some learned don't cry too much, be mature, stay strong, handle it yourself, and slowly certain emotional rooms stop getting visited. Not because they disappear, because life begins getting organized around avoiding them. And years later, it appears in unexpected places. Someone can solve everyone's problems but freezes when asked what they need. Someone who can speak confidently in a room but struggles with the sentence, "that hurt me." Someone who gives love naturally but feels uneasy receiving it. Someone who fills every quiet moment because stillness starts knocking on rooms they haven't entered in years. And eventually, people begin saying, "This is just how I am." Private, independent, always fine, without realizing they may simply be living inside a very small section of themselves. A person can spend years inside themselves without ever entering all their rooms. And the difficult part is, locked rooms do not stay silent forever. What remains unopened internally often begins speaking indirectly. You may notice it as a strange restlessness, even during quiet moments, feeling emotionally full but unable to explain why, constantly needing distraction, feeling disconnected during moments that should feel meaningful, or sensing that something within you has been asking for attention without ever finding the words for it. Because some emotions, when left waiting long enough, do not disappear. They simply begin searching for another way to be noticed. Emotional regulation is not becoming calm all the time. or responding perfectly. It is developing enough internal safety to access more parts of yourself without fear, to enter the room you learned to avoid, not forcefully, but honestly. And this is something we can actually observe. In handwriting, you often notice where expression narrows, where movement becomes overly contained, where spontaneity reduces, where writing begins choosing caution over natural ease. Not because the person lacks emotion, but because emotional excess has gradually become restricted. And over time, people begin noticing something deeper. Not that emotions are absent, but that certain parts of themselves feel difficult to reach. The part that speaks honestly, the part that receives support, the part that relaxes without guilt. And this is where I often see meaningful shifts through graphotherapy. Not by forcing a person to become someone new, but by creating enough internal permission for rooms that stayed closed for years to slowly begin opening again. And gradually, the house begins to feel different. Not because new rooms were created, because forgotten rooms became livable again. Healing is not adding new parts to yourself. Sometimes it is simply returning access to what was already there. So maybe tonight, instead of asking, why do certain parts of me feel so difficult to reach? Ask, which room within me have I stopped visiting? The room that rests, the room that creates, the room that allows support. Because awareness does not always begin with finding answers. Sometimes it begins by noticing which internal door have remained closed for too long. And if something in this episode felt familiar, this may be a moment to gently notice what parts of you have been waiting to be welcomed back. A locked room is not proof that something is missing. Sometimes it is proof that something important has been waiting patiently to be reopened. This is how we regulate, and this is how we rise.